I know you all are having many interesting sessions today. And in continuation to this wonderful journey, today I'm going to present some new features that we have in Power Apps. And before starting for these details, I would like to give a brief introduction for myself. My name is Amna Khan, and I'm working as a D365 and Power Platform consultant at VeryPark Software Solutions. So now, going ahead with the agenda for today's session, as I just said, we will cover and find out the new things that we have in Power Apps, the new features. Though there are so many features in Power Apps that are in public preview, and there are many that are still in just a preview stage. But today we will cover a few that are important and are very useful from point of view of technical and as well as functional consultants. So what we will cover today is, first of all, we will start a synopsis, a brief synopsis for Power Apps, like what is Power Apps and why we use it. And then we will check for the types of Power Apps that we have. And then we will discuss the details for features that we have. In the end, we will have some queries that if anybody wants to ask something related to that, we will cover up in the last. So I am proceeding with the first point of my agenda, that what Power App is. So basically, it is a suite of applications, data connections that provide us quick development for applications, regardless of time constraint, regardless of efficiency that was required earlier for developers. Because earlier, when we don't have Power Apps, we do need to make so much code. Like that is the reason this Power Apps and this Power Platform has a tagline that is called low code, no code. And what other things this Power App provide is a quick integration between Dynamics 365, Office 365, and Azure, Microsoft Azure, and other third-party tools and services. So all of these can be happen easily using Power Apps. And why do we use Power Apps? Because they are very efficient, as I just said. They doesn't need much of the code. They doesn't need anyone who has much technicality. Like anybody, even a functional consultant and even a project manager can create a Power App because it doesn't require much technicality. A very friendly and end user based interface, and has obviously compromised time efficiency. Like we have quick time efficiency. Earlier we developed applications in days, now we can do it quickly in hours. And it is of course a platform independent thing, because any application that we have created as Power Apps can easily work on web based and on iOS and like any platform. So it is basically platform independent. That is also a benefit for using Power App. One more thing that we have, like we have pre-built templates in Power Apps where we just need to drag and drop and connect a data source if we want a Power App to work quickly. But for all these Power Apps that we have, like we have three types of Power Apps: Canvas app, model driven app, and portal app. Though we have detailed and deep dive for all these three types of application later on by our industry experts. But in this session, I will just give a one-liner definition for each: Canvas app, model app, and portal app. So basically, when we need an application that should work on multiple devices, should say mobile device or any tablet, like user interface friendly devices, then we opt for Canvas app. And if we are going to make any structural level changes in our data words, in that scenario, we create a model driven app where we implement our logics. And when we are integrating our Dataverse or any other platform with an end user, we opt for portal apps, because portal apps are something a very similar concept that earlier we have as our custom portals. So Moving ahead, we have a presentation provided by Microsoft itself. So let's just take a quick view over it, like what Microsoft says about Power Apps.
Meet Olivia, a sales manager with an idea to help her store teams sell smarter. She wants to create an app for her store associates that will quickly surface key information to drive higher sales and a better customer experience. With no coding experience, Olivia uses Microsoft Power Apps to easily build this app herself. She wants her app to automatically put data-driven customer recommendations at her associates' fingertips while out on the sales floor. She can start from many pre-built templates or build the app from scratch. Either way, she can completely customize it to her unique needs. Olivia can connect to all the data she needs by leveraging the large library of connectors or use the powerful common data service that comes with Power Apps out of the box. She adds business logic to surface relevant customer information faster and adds barcode scanning to the mobile app before securely sharing it with her store teams. Casey, a top sales associate, is energized by how the new app helps her upsell merchandise. With the new mobile app, she's able to easily scan product barcodes while interacting with customers. The scan quickly surfaces related catalog items that may be of interest. After discussing these additional products, Casey identifies the customer and the app uncovers promotional discounts available if adding these items. Delighted by the offer, the customer agrees to purchase everything. Casey closes the sale and an automated email is sent to the customer with detailed product information. A bigger sale, a happier customer. Meanwhile, Olivia, back at headquarters, can track in real time how the app is increasing upsells via her interactive Power BI dashboard. Turn bright ideas into brilliant apps. Transform manual and outdated processes overnight with Microsoft Power Apps.
Well, it was a brief and a quick introduction of Power Apps by Microsoft itself, and we just saw that how a non-technical person can interact with the customer as well as with the system by creating Power Apps. Like there is no need for technicality, there is no need for going to or to know the base knowledge for structure of what we have in Dataverse, but simply anybody can create that app and use it frequently. So now we are going to discuss the basic and the centric point of this presentation, that is new features. Though we have so many features for Power Apps, but today, considering our time constraint, we will just cater few, but the ones that are most awaiting and exciting for all, like starting from technical towards functional consultants. So let's start it. Okay, so what we have new, we have basically a new container layout that is called horizontal and vertical layout control for Canvas app. Then we have, yeah, source code file for Canvas app. This is the one that we will discuss today in detail because this is something very exciting. Just imagine anything that we have in our Power Apps, we want to change it. And we can do that using our source control. It is something very cool. So by using this feature of source code file for Canvas app, we can achieve this goal. Then we have a rich text editor, of course, a much awaited and of course a very useful feature that we all are willing to have so that we can easily do editing, content editing on a single go. So we have rich text editor as well. Then we have push notifications in model driven apps. Okay, this is again a very cool feature because earlier whenever we wanted a customer to notify with the any type of error or any type of information, we need to make a few of the customizations earlier. But now we have a built-in feature available that is called push notification, and we can trigger out so many notifications in our model-driven app by, of course, using Power Automate, where we can trigger out and set the details of notifications, and we can ping that towards our app. Then we have few changes in our Power Query and data flows. Though we have those features available earlier, but there were few limitations while we create Power Queries. We cannot include so many entities. We cannot use so many controls, feature conditions like use of, and, between. And right now we have all these available because this control is being updated. And yeah, other details, other enhancements that we have in emails. And another exciting part is enhanced component features that have overall linked with behavioral conditions of Power Apps. Like as in earlier times, we need some, some kind of customization where we need to make, for example, on a selection of a country, we want to populate the cities that are relevant to that particular country. So in older logic, we do some customization on change event of country. So basically, this feature is now a built-in feature, like an available feature that we have in Power Apps, where we can perform this behavioral change as well, based on function and event call on change. Then we have, this is again a very interesting feature that is called relevant search, because this relevant search provides us independent based search, like we doesn't need to write the complete sentence. We doesn't need to use wildcard characters. We just need to type a single word phrase, and eventually it will search out the data. It will cater out all the records that we have in our Dataverse. And then we have, okay, this is being done. Yeah. So next is, yeah, Power BI embedded. Earlier, like when we have dashboards in our Power BI, we need to watch them all using Power BI itself. But now, considering the needs of customers and organizations itself, we have a feature where we can embed all the Power BI dashboard easily as system dashboards on our model-driven apps. One more interesting feature that we have is form troubleshooting in our model-driven app. That was earlier was a mess because we need to make customizations. We used to make a code for this, like we print custom messages. We enable some kind of auditing by doing customizations, but right now it is a built-in feature. Okay, so first we will discuss in detail the introduction for what we have in terms of search in our model-driven apps. So as I was talking about earlier, that earlier we need to write up the whole sentence and we use wildcard characters for search. But after getting the feature of this relevant search, we can easily find out our data on a single go by just writing a single keyword even. You can see this, just a single typing word, and here you go with the details, all the details that we have. Here are the results, like a single word written on the global search text, and you can see all the related records that we have in accounts and contacts are visible on our screen based on condition as well. Like we can also apply a filter if we want to have exact records analysis that we want to. But to avail this feature, we need to make some configurations in our system. This can be done using Maker Portal, and from there you have to select the option that is mentioned and highlighted in this screenshot. You have to just enable this search experience, and then you are all good to go. Okay, this is again that we just started earlier. Like when we are having our changes done in Canvas app, we want to replicate all these changes in our source control, or something that we want to change in our source control and want to have a replication of them over Power Apps. This can be done now using this source code file feature that can be elaborated. Basically, this is a tool that can be downloaded using this details. By the end of this session, I will provide the link for where we can get these libraries as well. You can see here just an icon for the Power App is being changed from person to people. Now here we have referenced the details for TFS check in Git library, but you can also cater it from TFS. Like if you have Visual Studio, then you can use that too. Like you have multiple areas where you can easily gauge up for source control. And here is a change that is being done from person to people, uploading that file again over Git, and now tracking. So basically, what do we need to do? We need to first unpack our application, and then we can easily pack up our application. Here you can see it is reflected. The change that was done for people is now appearing with the change of uh, people image. Earlier it was person. Then we have dashboard features like we discussed. We can easily replicate our Power BI dashboards as an embedded dashboard on our model-driven app, and they appear as system dashboards. So here we can see how does it look like and how does it work. This is how it appears on our Power apps under Systems Dashboards tab. And we can even, from there, we can open our dashboard on Power BI as well. Now let's see how does it happens. We have to make some kind of customization, like we have to make some configurations for this. We have to enable our reports for availability on our Dataverse. And then it comes like that. Okay, and then we have a feature for enhanced components. Yeah, so basically earlier days when we have to make changes on some control based on some previous or parent control, so we have functions like on change, on value change, and so many. But in Power Apps we don't have it earlier, but now we have these features, so we can easily cater data on a child control on based on value in parent control. Just see, here is an example of behavioral control. Like we can easily pick up dates, and we can change the behavior of the next control on based of selection of the first. First of all, we need to make changes on the settings, like we have to change the properties, where we have to cater behavior tag, like we need to make it change, like where we are willing to have this change. We want to have this change as a behavior change, so we will select it. And now you can see on the formula bar, it is typed as component1 dot on change. So now we will show what should be changed on whenever we change the date, what should be done as the next step. So we have here in this example cater the example for notification, like we need to notify the customer about the selection of date. So this is how you can see that. On changing date, it is showing the message that we have printed as a notification message. And this is basically working as on change. You can see that here, on change. There are the settings that are required. Okay, so basically this is another type of setting that we have. If we want to capture a timeline, if we want to capture something that should have a limitation like between some numbers, so we can easily cater this as well using that match function. Selecting its type, providing an expression on the formula bar, like what we want to have. We want to have a random number for particular value where we are providing range. And you can see here, it will present numbers between ranges from bottom to top. And here we have provided the formula for this, how it can be calculated and how it will generate a random number based on this value. As you can see, it is replicating. Okay, so like as earlier we discussed, there are so many features that we have in Power Apps, but we have catered few that are most relevant and of course that are widely used. And most of the consultants are willing to have these kind of features in Power Apps because all these features are going to make Power Apps more mature. So the important key takeaways that we have from this presentation is we have multiple changes, multiple controls available, multiple features available that are basically catering data sources experience. Like we have better options for connections, for third-party connectors, for insights connectors, as well as for data sources that are part of Dataverse and that are part of separate applications. And then we have UI enhancements, of course. We have features where itself responsive control available, and if we apply those features, they automatically are available for all the applications. And then we have grid experience. Okay, for grid experience we have filter available now in Power Apps. Earlier we didn't have this option, but right now we have this option as well. So this is all from my side for today's presentation. If anybody have any question, please proceed.
That was a really great session, Amna. Thanks for that and giving us some insight in what we have. We are seeing the updates from a perspective how the Power Apps is changing. One question, I think there was a recent deployment related part as well that was recently introduced. And like, if you can just give us a brief on that, if you didn't cover that, like how the deployment will be done, sort of automated way, if you did get a chance to explore that.
Regarding that deployment for Power Apps,
Yeah.
in terms of features, I haven't experienced that, but yes, in terms of third party, like in terms of what we have libraries provided for automatic automation of bits, yes, that is something I know.
Yeah, please, if you can just give us a quick some knowledge around it.
Yeah, of course. So basically, right now we have feature where we can tackle up all the details that we have in TFS. Like if we want to have a track on source control, if we want to have a note for all the changes, and if we want to make these deployment, on automation based. So for that, we have a tool available that is being called uh, PowerShell Gallery that can be used for this purpose as well.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I think if anyone have any question, please we can ask Amna. She's available here. That's great. I think
Hello.
then we will continue. Yeah, sorry, please.
Yeah, I do have a question here.
Okay. Please.
Yeah, so my question is that when should we select Canvas app or model-driven app, or vice versa? What would be like a business scenario where we should go for Canvas app instead of model-driven app?
Yes, if you could just give us a real life example of any scenario where we will opt for Canvas app or model driven apps.
I think we should move on to our next presenter.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Actually, I just lost my call. I was briefing the scenario where we can have usage for model-driven app. Like if we are having a scenario where we are capturing the complaints of our customer and we have to integrate all these customers via a third-party system, or where we need to capture the details of the complaints on another product of Microsoft that should be called as FinOps. In that scenario where we are making structural level changes, there we should use model driven apps.
All right, thank you. Amna?
All right.
Okay, thank you so much,
Thanks,
everyone.
Amna.
Thank you, Amna, for the great session.
Yeah, I think we should move on to our next presenter.